शिवशक्तिसमारम्भां भास्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मद्श्रीनाथपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रीनाथादिगुरुत्रयं गणपतिं पीठत्रयं भैरवं सिद्धौघं वटुकत्रयं पदयुगं दूतीक्रमं मण्डलं वीराङ्ग्यष्टचतुष्कषष्ठिनवकं वीरावळी पञ्चकं श्रीमन्मालिनी मन्त्रराजसहितं वन्दे गुरोर्मण्डलम्। श्रीविमर्शानन्दनाथं सत्याम्बासहितं गुरुं हृत्पद्मकर्णिका मध्ये भावयेत् सर्वसिद्धये। श्रीभासुरानन्दनाथाय नमः। श्रीभास्करराय गुरुमण्डलाय नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्।
Namaste, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Matre Namaha. Welcome to today's session. In the 68th shloka yesterday, we saw her neck was the lotus stalk standing on the dark agaru smeared lower part of her neck, adorning the pearl necklace. After yesterday's session, we were still thinking why Adi Shankara chose to use the word Haralatika or a string of pearls in this shloka. He could have used any other jewelry adorning her neck, but he chose only pearl necklace. We were then reminded of the 32nd nama from Lalita Sahasranama. Ratnagreveya chintaka lolamukta phalanvita, meaning she is having a pearl dangling from a necklace of gems. Now Bhaskara Raya's commentary on this nama says that the pearl dangling lolamukta means those who are bound by earthly desires. The Agni Purana says Lola means change and desire. These are the lowest class of worshippers. Then comes the middle class of worshippers, those who meditate on the throat. Griva alone are called Graiveya Chintaka. Ratnagraiveya Chintaka. So the Graiveya Chintaka means those who meditate on the throat, Griva alone. These are people who cannot fix the Devata in the Guhya cavity of their heart, but worship externally. So meditating Devi in the Vishuddhi Chakra removes the muddy black slush that separates the Vishuddhi and the Anahata Chakra, and the sadhaka is able to fix her in his heart to get to the next level of sadhana. Now, the muktas, the pearls, are the highest class of worshippers. In each case of worshippers, whether it be the lower class or the middle class or the highest class, she is the phala or fruit to be obtained according to their desires. Now, let us proceed to the 69th shloka. We will first learn to recite the shloka.
गले रेखास्तिस्रो
गले रेखास्तिस्रो गले रेखास्तिस्रो
गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे
गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे
गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे
गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे
विवाहव्यानद्ध
विवाहव्यानद्ध विवाहव्यानद्ध
प्रगुणगुणसङ्ख्या प्रतिभुवः
प्रगुणगुणसंख्या प्रतिभुवः प्रगुणगुणसंख्या प्रतिभुवः
विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसंख्या प्रतिभुवः
विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसंख्या प्रतिभुवः विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसंख्या प्रतिभुवः
विराजन्ते नानाविध
विराजन्ते नानाविध विराजन्ते नानाविध
मधुररागाकरभुवाम्
मधुररागाकरभुवाम् मधुररागाकरभुवाम्
विराजन्ते नानाविध मधुररागाकरभुवाम्
विराजन्ते नानाविध मधुररागाकरभुवाम् विराजन्ते नानाविध मधुररागाकरभुवाम्
त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां
त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां
स्थितिनियमसीमान इवते
स्थितिनियमसीमान इवते स्थितिनियमसीमान इवते
त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इवते
त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इवते त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इवते. We will now recite all the 4 lines together 2 times. गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसंख्या प्रतिभुवः विराजन्ते नानाविध मधुररागाकरभुवाम् त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इवते गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसंख्या प्रतिभुवः विराजन्ते नानाविध मधुररागाकरभुवाम् त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इवते. We will now listen to Priya, Paramesh, Mahinta and Karthik and learn this verse in Kalyani Ragam.
गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे
गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसंख्या प्रतिभुवः
विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसंख्या प्रतिभुवः
विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसंख्या प्रतिभुवः विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसंख्या प्रतिभुवः
गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसंख्या प्रतिभुवः गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसंख्या प्रतिभुवः
गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसंख्या प्रतिभुवः गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसङ्ख्या प्रतिभुवः
विराजते नानाविध मधुररागाकरभुवाम् विराजन्ते नानाविध मधुररागाकरभुवाम्
विराजन्ते नानाविध मधुररागाकरभुवाम् विराजन्ते नानाविध मधुररागाकरभुवाम्
त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इव ते त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इव ते
त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इव ते त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इव ते
विराजन्ते नानाविधं मधुररागाकरभुवाम् त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इव ते विराजन्ते नानाविध मधुररागाकरभुवाम् त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इव ते
विराजन्ते नानाविध मधुररागाकरभुवाम् त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इव ते विराजन्ते नानाविध मधुररागाकरभुवाम् त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इव ते
गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसङ्ख्या प्रतिभुवः विराजते नानाविध मधुररागाकरभुवाम् त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इव ते गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगामकगीतैकनिपुणे विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसङ्ख्या प्रतिभुवः विराजन्ते नानाविधं मधुररागाकरभुवाम् त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इव ते
गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसङ्ख्या प्रतिभुवः विराजन्ते नानाविध मधुररागाकरभुवाम् त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां स्थितिनियमसीमान इव ते गले रेखास्तिस्रो गतिगमकगीतैकनिपुणे विवाहव्यानद्ध प्रगुणगुणसङ्ख्या प्रतिभुवः विराजन्ते नानाविध मधुररागाकरभुवाम् त्रयाणां ग्रामाणां sthitiniyamasīmāna ivate.
We will now go through the meanings. gatigamakagītaikanipuṇe. Gatigamakagītaika. So gati means Sangeeta gati, the movement of music. Gamaka, undulation or wave-like movement of swaras. Gītaikanipuṇe has to be split as Gīta eka nipune. Gita means song. Eka nipune means no equal to her skill in this. So Bhagavad Pada addresses Devi as unequaled scholar of all aspects of music. Te gale, te is the last word of this verse, and we have to take it with the first word of this shloka. Te gale, in your neck, rekhāstisro. We will take this as tisraha rekhaha, the 3 lines. Virājante, shine brightly. Vivaha vyanadha, meaning wedding. Vivaha is wedding. Vyanadha means tied well. Guna sankhya, consisting of a certain number of gunas. Here gunas mean the thread, the wedding thread. Praguna, praguna means noble gunas. Pratibhuvaha, meaning that which authenticates or guarantees. We will look into a deeper meaning shortly. nānāvidhamadhurarāgākarabhuvāṃ, meaning those which generate many melodious ragas or tunes. Trayāṇāṃ grāmāṇāṃ, and the 3 musical groups. Sthitiniyamasīmāna iva, the boundaries between the different gramas, the 3 different gramas or the 3 musical groups in music are what is shown by the 3 lines on your neck. I know it's a lot of confusing words and new words here. In this verse, we can see Bhagavad Pada's knowledge of music as he explains its origin from the throat of Devi. According to Samudrika Shastra, the perfectly beautiful women should have 3 lines in their neck region. Adi Shankara connects his knowledge of music and this lakshanam or feature of Devi in this shloka. The number 3 is very significant. Trayi Trivarga Nilaya Tristha Tripura Malini. Devi is called Trayi, Trigunatmika, Tripura, and Tripura Sundari, and so on. Bhagavad Pada refers to the number 3 many times in this verse. The Guna Sankhya in this verse refers to the number 3, coming from the 3 gunas. That's a straightforward meaning that we can easily understand. The 3 gunas are Sattva, Rajas, and Tamo gunas. We were further reflecting on gatigamakagīta as well as sthitiniyamasīmāna. We see parallels in both the above triads. The number 3 is evoked 6 times in this shloka. We just saw the gatigamakagīta and the second one as sthitiniyamasīmāna, and then subsequently in the phrase trayāṇāṃ grāmāṇāṃ, that is the 3 musical groups. Then 4th is the reference to the 3 rekhas on Devi's neck, rekhāstisro. The 5th, the strands of the sutra or mangalyam she receives from Shiva, and also the 6th one as guna sankhya, used in the verse to refer to the 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamo gunas. Now let us look at the first triad of gatigamakagīta. Gati refers to laya. In this case, it is a reference to the primordial rhythm or beat of the universe, the substrate upon which all other musical elements rest. This beat is also the most flat of all the 3 phenomena. Gita and Gamaka rest on the substrate, that is Gati. Gati is the Shiva Kameshwara aspect, while Gita and Gamaka are the Shakti aspect. Gita is supported by the term of raga, raga meaning inflection or passion. Therefore, raga implies lauhityam or the redness, reminding us of the reference in the Bhavanopanishad regarding redness of Kameshwari resting in the whiteness of Kameshwara. Interesting to note that Shiva as Gati and Shakti as Gita feel like an inversion of sounds of sorts, like the vowel sounds swapped with the same consonants in both words. Meaning, just like we saw the vowels E and A in Shiva, reversed as A and E in Shakti, similarly, Gati has vowels A and E, while Gita has vowels E and A. Has Prakasha Vimarsha phenomenon played out in the construct with word play? Not sure. Maybe Bhagavad Pada has concealed all these Prakasha Vimarsha concepts in his verse. With the further addition of the evolute of Gamaka, this only adds color and melody to Gita.
Let us take a few moments to reflect on the connection of the triad Gati, Gita and Gamaka in macrocosm level. Gati evokes a sine wave, which is a simple periodic sound. All rhythm in the universe, original pulse, shabda, all evoke a beat and a measure of time which imply periodicity. Gita rests on the element of raga, the inflection leading to melody. Gamaka refers to the play in the interval spaces. Gamaka is the play that is employed or displayed between beats. In the interval spaces, laya, pralaya are evoked. Gamaka has come to mean ornamentation or embellishment, but that embellishment derives from the notion of play or sport in the interval. We can see Gamaka too is clearly the agency of Shakti, the dynamic principle. Even though Shakti and Shiva are equal, Shakti's dynamism is more felt. The feeling evoked by Gita and Gamaka result in the beauty felt in the universe. Gita and Gamaka bring out the beauty of the Gati. Now, take the next triad, sthitiniyamasīmāna. We can draw a parallel between Gati and Sthiti, Gamaka and Niyama, and Gita and Sīma. Much like Gita and Gamaka rest on top of the Gati layer, we see the Niyama and Sīma to rest atop the fixed position or Sthiti. Nada, Bindu and Kala are evoked. We will elaborate on this later.
Bhagavad Pada refers to these groups of three phenomena. Then goes on to talk about trayāṇāṃ, grāmāṇāṃ, which is a reference to the three main gramams or classifications or collections of shrutis or microtones in an octave, giving rise to countless ragas of great beauty and sweetness. nānāvidhamadhurarāgākarabhuvāṃ. Devi's neck with its three rekhas are said to symbolize these three gramas or collection of shrutis which are said to form the basis of all music. The main raga classifications are 30 grama ragas, 8 uparagas, 20 ragas, 15 janaka ragas, 96 bhasha ragas, 20 vibhasha ragas, and 3 antara bhasha ragas. Trayāṇāṃ, grāmāṇāṃ can actually be extrapolated or more expansively mean the superset of all microtones and shrutis that exist, which form the basis of all melodies. The grama raga term was used to classify melodies during the time of Shankara, we found, and prior to Shankara as well. The word grama centered around the notion of shruti, meaning all the heard sounds, in this case all of the frequencies or microtones in the octave. The three gramams referenced by Shankara are Shadjama gramam, Madhyama gramam, and Gandhara gramam or Gandharva gramam, which was celestial and not in use in the human plane. According to Matanga Bharata's exhaustive musical treatise Brihadeshi, these 3 gramams gave rise to all of the most important musical grammatical elements. The Brihadeshi uses a 2-dimensional prastara or matrix to explain how the 7 notes of the octave map into 22 shrutis with varying distances between notes. It also says that a finer subdivision in microtones has 66 shrutis, and that in principle the number of shrutis meaning is infinite. Again, the lines of Devi's neck give rise to all musicality. The grama construct positionally fixed a shruti in order to have everyone be on the same page while speaking the musical language. Shadjama gramam versus Madhyama gramam, simply put, comprised of Shadjama shruti based ragams and Madhyama shruti based ragams respectively. It is interesting to note that these gramams also gave birth to Samvadi and Vivadi ragams. At least in part where Shankara talks about nānāvidhamadhurarāgākarabhuvāṃ, the idea conveyed is, born from her neck are so many ragams with so many different flavors, which form the superset of all music and beauty in all of experience or manifest universe. Given that Devi herself is a red creative impulse, inflection or spandana principle, it is no surprise that all kinds of ragas in all their sweetness are birthed by Devi's neck.
Trayāṇāṃ grāmāṇāṃ, on a superfluous level, this reference seems a very pointed musicological reference. Yes, we see his prowess in musical grammar, but Bhagavad-pada may also have employed this phrase to mean a larger reference to the superset of all microtones and sounds in the universal set, and a reference to Gati, Gamaka and Gita, and a reference to Sthiti, Niyama and Sīma, the Trayāṇāṃ, grāmāṇāṃ, ultimately also evoking this sacred triad of word, meaning and musicality, or Nada, Bindu and Kala. If Nada can be taken as the primordial Shabda or primordial beat or Gati, then the manifest Shivashakti Swarupam, Bindu, perhaps represents Geetam, which rests on the central term of Ragam, which is red, with Kala representing Gamaka or regulation or riding the beat or riding the wave. Kala evokes art or artful ornamentation, leading to variation and differentiation within the limit of universal set, that is Niyama principle. Divine Mother gives birth to this universe. All of the manifest universe vibrates and pulsates.
Actually, scholars also refer to Gamaka as grace. When, in singing, a note rises from its own pitch and moves towards another, so that something of the expressions of the second sound passes like a shadow over it, this is called grace or Gamaka. While Gati is essentially 5 in nature, further evoking Shiva, Gamaka is 15 in number, evoking Panchadashi, aptly called grace.
In this shlokam, Bhagavad-pada cleverly not only references Sangeeta Shastram, but evokes all the sacred triads in the context of sound and music. We know that even in recent times, Jivas like Saint Tyagaraja, Muthuswami Dikshita and Shyama Shastri have attained mukti using Sangeeta Upasana, meaning using music as a vehicle to attain the highest human aspiration of Brahmajnana and liberation. The use of the word raga, which also means red, is very significant. Kameshvara is pure white and Kameshvari is red in color. Kameshvara is pure without any attributes. Upadya bhava rupa shuklatvopa lakshita sati shuddha samvideva shukla charanaha. Being attributeless, This Kameshvara is the Shuddha Samvit or pure Samvit, and this Shuddha Samvit is called Shukla Charanaha. Chitta Visishta Samvite Prathamika Parakantatmaka Vritti Rupena Ragena Upalakshita Sati Rakta Charanaha. Kameshwari is called Visishta Samvit, which means she is with the Upadhis or attributes of the three gunas and consciousness. She is in the form of primary I, Prathamika Ahanta. Because of this I-ness, desire is born. This desire is in the form of raga, which is red in color. Kameshwari, who is having the Ahanta, that is the sense of I or me or mine, as the raga swarupini, or who is in the form of raga, is called Rakta Charanaha. Laugitya metasya sarvasya vimarshaha. So she is the Vimarsha Shakti.
In the mantra we say for Guru is, we have Rakta Shukla Prabhamishram Atarkyam Traipuram Mahaha. When we mix white, which is Shiva, with Shakti, who is red, the whiteness disappears, but the reddish color is retained. The mixture of red and white will still be reddish pink. Sarvarunayai Namaha, says Lalita Sahasranama. Everything is with rosy hue. The creation happens when the white Shukla, which is male, is combined with Rakta, the red color denoting female. Traipuram Mahaha is the light that is the cause of all that is gross as well as all that is subtle. With Guru's grace, a sadhaka is blessed with this understanding. In the color spectrum, violet, indigo and blue are in one end, and yellow, orange and red are in the other end of the spectrum. When Shiva, who is Shantam or peace, combines with Devi as the red dynamic principle, we have the Mahatripura Sundari Swarupa. The color has a red hue like the morning sun. The Dhyana Shloka for her is Sindura Aruna Vigraham, Sindura Aruna Vigraham, or the one with the color of rising sun. When the same Shiva, the Shanta Shiva, merges with the other end of the spectrum, that is with violet and blue color, it means Shiva is merging with Devi as Vishnu Maya. Vishnu is blue in color. This combination will transform Mahatripura Sundari into goddess Durga or Mahakali. This is exactly what we should understand by the word, by the phrase Rakta Shukla Prabha Mishram, red and white confluent effulgence, thereby indicating both the outward dynamism of the effect and the inward peace of the cause. In Lalita Sahasranama, we have the Nama Kamesha Baddha Mangalya Sutra Shobhita Kandara. She whose neck is adorned with the Mangala Sutra, fastened thereon by her consort Kameshwara. Bhagavad-pada elaborates this Nama as Praguna in this shloka to indicate strands of string, because Guna also means strand, and Praguna means auspicious strands. And this is what is a Mangala Sutra, that is the auspicious marriage thread that is tied at the time of the wedding ceremony in many regions of Bharatadesha. In other words, it means that three noble strands of strings have been twisted to make the Mangala Sutra for the goddess. And it is these three strands that are called Pratibhuvaha in this shloka by the three lines on the neck of Amba. In certain cultures in Bharatadesha, the name Kalyanam is used to denote a wedding ceremony where the tying of Mangala Sutra is said to be the most important part of the wedding ceremony. This ceremony signifies the auspiciousness obtained not just for the couple getting married, but for the entire world. Kalyanam denotes auspiciousness, and it is our Guru's grace that this verse is set to the most melodious and auspicious Kalyani Raga. Kakara Rupa Kalyani Kalyana Gunashalini, says Lalita Trishati. Now let us see what mantra is concealed here. The words gale rekha indicate the chapa mantra. Chapa is the ayudha of Devi, or the bow. Chapa means the bow. In the 8th avarna of Sri Vidya Navavarna Puja, we prefix the 2-syllable mantra for the Dhanur Ayudha of the Jagat Sammohana Kameshwara Kameshwari. So we just went through the 69th shloka, which is a very unique shloka in Soundaryalahari that we have come across so far. We had to do a lot of research and, in fact, get the help of some great musicians to prepare the content. We are grateful to them for helping us with this. This only shows the extreme knowledge that Shankara had on the musical portion and how he has used his musical knowledge to connect with the highest Sri Vidya principle. It left us totally astonished, and the more we go through these Soundaryalahari verses, the more we realize that we do not know anything much. Let us gather ourselves and move on to the learning of the 70th shloka.
mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ
mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ
tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ
tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ
mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ
mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ
caturbhiḥ saundaryaṃ
caturbhiḥ saundaryaṃ caturbhiḥ saundaryaṃ
sarasijabhavaḥ stauti vadanaiḥ
sarasijabhavaḥ stauti vadanaiḥ sarasijabhavaḥ stauti vadanaiḥ
caturbhiḥ saundaryaṃ sarasijabhavaḥ stauti vadanaiḥ
caturbhiḥ saundaryam sarasijabhavaḥ stauti vadanaiḥ caturbhiḥ saundaryam sarasijabhavaḥ stauti vadanaiḥ
nakhebhyaḥ santrasyan
nakhebhyaḥ santrasyan
prathamamathanādandhakaripo
prathamamathanādandhakaripo
nakhebhyaḥ santrasyan prathamamathanādandhakaripo
nakhebhyaḥ santrasyan prathamamathanādandhakaripo nakhebhyaḥ santrasyan prathamamathanādandhakaripo
caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samam
caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samam caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samam
abhayahastārpaṇadhiyā
abhayahastārpaṇadhiyā
caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā
caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā. We will now recite all the 4 lines together 2 times. mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ caturbhiḥ saundaryam sarasijabhavaḥ stauti vadanaiḥ nakhebhyaḥ santrasyan prathamamathanādandhakaripo caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā. mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ caturbhiḥ saundaryam sarasijabhavaḥ stauti vadanaiḥ nakhebhyaḥ santrasyan prathamamathanādandhakaripo caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā. Let us now listen to the musical rendition.
mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ
tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ
mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ
mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ
चतुर्भिः सौन्दर्यं सरसिजभवः stauti vadanaiḥ
चतुर्भिः सौन्दर्यं सरसिजभवः stauti vadanaiḥ
चतुर्भिः सौन्दर्यं सरसिजभवः stauti vadanaiḥ चतुर्भिः सौन्दर्यं सरसिजभवः stauti vadanaiḥ
mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ चतुर्भिः सौन्दर्यं सरसिजभवः stauti vadanaiḥ
mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ चतुर्भिः सौन्दर्यं सरसिजभवः stauti vadanaiḥ
mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ चतुर्भिः सौन्दर्यं सरसिजभवः stauti vadanaiḥ mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ चतुर्भिः सौन्दर्यं सरसिजभवः stauti vadanaiḥ
nakhebhyaḥ santrasyanprathamamathanādandhakaripo
nakhebhyaḥ santrasyan prathamamathanādandhakaripo
nakhebhyaḥ santrasyan prathamamathanādandhakaripo nakhebhyaḥ santrasyan prathamamathanādandhakaripo
caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā
caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā
caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā
nakhebhyaḥ santrasyan prathamamathanādandhakaripo caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā
nakhebhyaḥ santrasyan prathamamathanādandhakaripo caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā
nakhebhyaḥ santrasyan prathamamathanādandhakaripo caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā nakhebhyaḥ santrasyan prathamamathanādandhakaripo caturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā
mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ caturbhiḥ saundaryaṃ sarasijabhavaḥ stauti vadanaiḥ nakhebhyaḥ santrasyanprathamamathanādandhakaripo ścaturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ caturbhiḥ
saundaryaṃ sarasijabhavaḥ stauti vadanaiḥ nakhebhyaḥ santrasyanprathamamathanādandhakaripo ścaturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā
मृणालीमृद्वीनां तव भुजलतानां catasṛṇāṃ चतुर्भिः सौन्दर्यं सरसिजभवस्तौति वदनैः नाकेभ्यः सन्त्रस्यं प्रथममथनादन्धकरिपो ścaturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ tava bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ caturbhiḥ saundaryam sarasijabhavastauti vadanaiḥ nakhebhyah santrasyan prathamamathanādandhakaripo ścaturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ samamabhayahastārpaṇadhiyā.
Let's now look into the meanings. mṛṇālīmṛdvīnāṃ, smooth like the lotus stalk. Tava, your. Bhujalatānāṃ catasṛṇāṃ saundaryam, the beauty of the creeper-like four slender arms. Sarasijabhavaḥ is the name of Lord Brahma. Caturbhiḥ vadanaiḥ, with his four heads. Stauti is praising. Santrasyan, being afraid of. Andhakaripo, Parameshwara, the enemy of Andhakasura. Nakhebhyaḥ, who with his fingernails. Prathamamathanāt, due to an earlier mishap or injury. Ścaturṇāṃ śīrṣāṇāṃ, to his surviving four heads. Samam, simultaneously. Abhayahastārpaṇadhiyā, the four hands of Devi will give protection to all the four heads. So, Brahma, being afraid of Parameshwara's anger due to an earlier incident, is now praising, doing stuti of Devi with his four heads simultaneously, of the beauty of her creeper-like four arms, smooth like the lotus stalk, hoping that she will give him protection by placing her Abhayahastam on all of his four heads. Lalita Sahasranama says about her arms, Kanakangada Keyura Kamaniya Bhujanvita. Her arms are decked with golden ornaments. Brahma originally had 5 heads. Once both Brahma and Vishnu set out to find the top and bottom of the end of Lord Parameshwara. While Mahavishnu, using his Varaha avatara, sets out to look for the padam or feet of Lord Shiva, Brahma climbs on his Hamsavahana to reach the top of the head of Parameshwara. Both of them are unable to reach the ends of the Adi Purusha, and after some time, Mahavishnu returns, accepting he is unable to reach the feet of Paramashiva. Brahma, on the other hand, finds it difficult to accept his defeat and picks up a screw point flower that we call Tharambu in Tamil, and he brings up to Mahavishnu and says, "Look, I found the head of Parameshwara, and here is the flower as a witness." Now, Parameshwara gets angry at Brahma for not speaking the truth and plucks one of Brahma's 5 heads with his fingernails, and in fact would have done more damage but for Devi. We already saw how Lord Shiva burnt down Manmatha and how Devi brought him back to life. Here, Brahma was lucky to not lose his life, as Parameshwara plucked only one of his 5 heads and was still able to retain the other 4, but only due to his surrender at Devi's feet. This is not the first time Brahma is crying for help from the mother. He earlier did when he was attacked by Madhu and Kaitabha at the time when Mahavishnu was in his Yoga Nidra and he was seated on the Nabhi Kamalam of Mahavishnu. The Brahma Stuti, also called the Ratri Suktam, is a very important stuti we can find in the first chapter of Devi Mahatmya. There also, she as Mahamaya came to his rescue to wake up Mahavishnu so he could fight the Asuras Madhu and Kaitabha. We all encounter such incidents in our life too. Sometimes we end up experiencing pain in our own life due to some wrong decisions we make, as in the case of Brahma. There was no need for him to lie about seeing Adipurusha's head. But somehow he made a wrong choice. We may have many choices, but that one choice we make may turn against us, and there could be no way of reversing it. Now, who can redeem us from such mistakes? Bhagavad Pada, through this shloka, wants us to know that the worship of Devi can save one from the evil effects of one's karma.
Adi Shankara describes her 4 arms being as soft as lotus stalks. Even though they are soft, they are capable of giving protection from adversity and from all mishaps. Here again, Acharya wants us to think of her Matribhava. Only a mother can save a child from father's anger. She will never ever fail or disappoint or turn away her child when the child seeks her help. We would like to recall quickly what we talked about Abhaya in the 4th shloka of Soundaryalahari. The word Abhayam or fearlessness and how a person can attain fearlessness is explained in Taittiriya Upanishad. Yada he vaisha etasminnadrishyēnātmē nirukte nilayane bhayam pratisthāṃ vindate ataso bhayangato bhavati. So it is Yada he vaisha etasminne adrishye anatme anirukte anilayane abhayam pratistham vindate atha tasya abhayam bhavati. That person who is able to perceive that which does not change, which has no physical body, which cannot be explained in words, which is not bound by limitation of space and time, such person becomes fearless. Thus, a person who has Brahmajnanam is fearless. Fearlessness or Abhaya is not a commodity that is given and taken. It is actually another name for Advaita. Only when there is duality, there is fear, says the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. If there is only one thing, from where can fear arise? Only when there is a second entity, fear arises in relation to it. If one thinks even of the tiniest distinction in Brahman, then fear arises. Even wise men, if they think of Brahman as another distinct object, are gripped with fear. So says Taittiriya Upanishad. It says, Yada he vaisha etasmin udaramantarang kurute atha tasya bhayam bhavati tatveva bhayam vidusho manvanasya. So, by praying to Shakti to place her 4 hands on each of the heads of Brahma and providing Abhaya, we can take it as Brahma receives the Brahmajnanam from her And Brahmajnanam is nothing but to understand the Parabrahman or Shiva. So, to that Brahma who thought Brahman was a second entity and set out to find the head of Shiva, Devi blesses him with the Brahmajnanam. This verse has the Kameshvara Kameshwari's Pasha mantra hidden.
Now, Pasha is the noose that Mahatripura Sundari holds as an Ayudha. Now, Bhavana Upanishad says, Ragaha Pashaha. Ragaha means desire. And this is the Pasha or the noose that she holds. Only Abhaya or fearlessness can remove the desire from our lives. That is the primary cause of suffering. Let us pray to Devi with an important shloka from Devi Mahatmyam to give us all the Abhaya and remove the fear from all of us. Sarvaswarupe Sarveshe Sarvashakti Samanvite Bhayebhyaha Trahino Devi Durge Devi Namostute. With this, we conclude today's session and this week's sadhana. Please join us again this Sunday, and the next set of 10 verses will be recited in Riti Gaule Ragam next week. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Matre Namaha.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Matre Namaha.
शिवे शिवसुशीतलामृततरङ्गगन्धोल्लसन् नवावरणदेवते नवनवामृतस्यन्दिनी गुरुक्रमपुरस्कृते गुणशरीरनित्योज्ज्वले षडङ्गपरिवारिते कालितयेष पुष्पाञ्जलिः कालितयेष पुष्पाञ्जलिः